Well, we've all had those moments, usually late at night, where we think about maybe, possibly buying Greenland.
All the time.
But one incoming president of the United States is actually considering it, and you'll never guess who it is. All right, you've probably guessed.
Greenland. It's the island between... Nope, that's Iceland. Where is... Greenland. It's the island between the Arctic and the Atlantic, with a population smaller than the city of Wagga Wagga. And it's caught the eye of one nuclear arsenal-wielding real estate mogul.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran.
After recently reacquiring another valuable property, Donald Trump is now signalling his desire to expand the empire northwards.
We shouldn't be bought by anyone because Greenland is not for sale and Greenland will not be for sale.
Greenland is part of Denmark, but in 2009 it was granted self-governance, which includes the right to declare independence from Denmark should the people want it. The Danes aren't ready to let go, though. While Donald was flagging his intentions, Danish King Frederick was literally flagging his reluctance, updating the royal coat of arms in a way that gave the symbol for Greenland more prominence.
In the eyes of the Danish government, Greenland is for the Greenlandic people.
And that might be why Trump won't rule out taking the island with military force.
Because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world.
That's because Greenland is positioned between Europe and North America, making it the ideal site the US could repel a potential attack from, say, Russia. Oh, and the place also happens to be super rich in oil and minerals. Which is why Donald's not the first to have floated the idea. President Andrew Johnson considered buying it in the 1860s. Harry Truman offered Denmark $100 million for the island in the 1940s. And former President Trump revived the idea back in 2019. Could be where future President Trump got the idea.
He was a good man. I knew him a little bit.
All this comes as large adult son Don Jr. arrives in Greenland's capital. Though he insists he's just there on holes.
Here as tourists, seeing it looks like an incredible place. We're really excited to be here. Thank you guys so much.
So, will the US offer enough green to get Greenland? Or is this one big dream? Land.
Making Greenland great again. Here to help us figure all this out is our resident Greenland real estate expert, Nick Bryant. Nick, Happy New Year to you. Just how important is getting Greenland to Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump's had a Greenland fixation for some time now. As you said, in 2019, I covered his presidency back then, and he kept on banging on about buying Greenland. He put on social media this picture of a small Greenland village with this giant golden skyscraper in the middle of it, a kind of Trump Tower a la Greenland. So he's spoken of this before. He regarded it as a great real estate opportunity. The Danish Prime Minister back then got really annoyed about it. She described it as absurd. Trump got really annoyed about that, and he decided at the last minute to cancel a presidential visit to Copenhagen. So it is something he's taken seriously in the past, and it sounds like he's taking seriously now.
Can you put a golf course on it, though?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. That's what he thinks. He thinks Greenland is great for golf. It's full of ice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ice hockey place is what it is. Now, Trump, he likes it enough that he says he hasn't ruled out using military force. Now, Trump, says things that don't often reflect how he maybe actually feels. Could you see that happening?
Oh, doesn't it speak of the crazy world that we've re-entered, that we're even asking that question, that America's going to invade Greenland? Look, I don't think we're going to see an Air Force carrier group outside of Queensland's coast. I don't think we're going to see the Danes sort of jumping aboard re-version Viking ships to defend them. Look, as you say, I mean, what Trump says and what he does is often very different. There was a president called Theodore Roosevelt who used to talk about speaking softly but carrying a big stick. And in some ways, Trump's inverted that. He speaks loudly, but often he doesn't reach for the military stick at all. The bark with Trump is often worse than the bite. And perhaps that's the case when he talks about the possibility, or doesn't rule it out, of some sort of military incursion into Greenland.
Well, President Trump, he is on a little bit of a spending spree at the moment. He's also talking about taking back the Panama Canal. Is that likely to come to fruition?
Well, look, America's got a bit more of a claim on the Panama Canal than it has on Greenland. I mean, Greenland's been Danish for 500 years, for goodness sake. But the Panama Canal, the Americans actually built, and they ran it jointly with Panama until 1999. There was a treaty in 1979 by Jimmy Carter, actually, who's just died, of course, that gave the US a joint custodianship of the Panama Canal. So, you know, maybe Trump wants to move back to that kind of model. I mean, what worries him about the Panama Canal? It's such a vital seaway for American trade. They're worried about the Chinese possibly getting their hands on it or having more influence. So what Trump might be trying to do is get more influence over the Panama Canal, even if it doesn't mean sort of invading Panama and retaking it over.
Nick, just coming from a different angle here, Greenland is part of Denmark. The Queen of Denmark is our own Mary Donaldson from Tassie.
yeah.
Could Australia therefore have a claim on Greenland?
Wow.
I love the idea of green and gold land. I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I guess the way to sell it is, you know, colonise Greenland with Australian baristas. You will finally be able to get a good flat white in Greenland. Maybe that's the way to get it over the line. But yeah, I mean, and I love the idea of the way to defend yourself against Trumpism is to change your royal coat of arms. I just think that is absolutely fantastic and speaks again of this crazy new world or this crazy old new world that we're just about to re-enter.
Well, with Greenland looking to have its referendum on independence from Denmark a little later this year, it's going to be very interesting. Nick, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.